Again, alav shalom. That one time he was doing kiruv. He had to walk through Ashkelon with his son Yaakov. So it was deserted. We were walking between abandoned buildings, and then two huge dogs, no collar, they ran towards us. We froze. We were scared for our life. We cried to Hashem to save our life. Finally, thanks to Hashem, they got distracted and they ran away to somewhere else. And then the rabbi started crying. So the son asked the rabbi again, Rabbi, the dogs are gone. Abba, the dogs are gone. Why are you crying? He says, yes. He says, you're right, the danger's over, but everything's not okay. It's not okay that I fear dogs more than I fear Hashem. That's the problem. So he started crying and realizing that that idea. We have fear of sin and fear of heaven. And we need to use our imagination to remember the King of Kings, and disobeying him should be just as scary as disobeying somebody who is going to take our life in front of us or hurt us. Every sin we commit, we have to know we will be held accountable. And failing to hold that level, holding that level of fear, is that what stopped us? So why did we sin? Because we didn't have the right fear. The Torah says the curse is by Hareval, right? It says, cursed is the man who makes an idol and an image and places it secretly. And curses the man, make ish breo baseter, right? It says the Torah, curses the man who smites his friend in secret. So why is a sin gets done in secret, he gets a curse? There's many sins in the Torah. Oh, the one that does it in secret, he gets a special curse on Hareval. What's the difference? Is because when it comes to Shabbat desecration, the one who desecrates Shabbat publicly, he cannot be considered counted towards the minyan, right? But what's worse, to eat pork in public or to eat pork in private? So you have to realize that doing it in private, there's an extra brazenness, right? That the one done in secret is worse. That the Torah gives a special curse to it. And the question is why? You would think in public is worse. Why is the curse going on the guy in secret? So the answer is that some sins a person wouldn't commit if his rabbi would see him. And others wouldn't commit if your neighbors would see. And others wouldn't commit even if a dog would see them do it. But problem is, let's say there's nobody there. Would he do it? Yeah, he would do it. Problem is, he forgot about the most important person, which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He forgot that Hashem sees every single thing you do. A person says to his associate in business, come on, Davai, let's cut a corner, just bill it, just do it. What's the big deal? Nobody's here, just me and you. I won't tell anybody. And he says, listen, my friend, we are already caught. By who? By Hashem. Hashem exactly sees what we're doing. What are you talking about? So therefore, person doesn't know Hashem sees is everywhere, Hashem sees everything. What do we teach the little kids? Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is truly everywhere, right? This is something that even adults forget. We have to remember this constantly. So therefore, Hashem will tell us, what, you thought I don't see? How could you do this? What's wrong with you? So therefore, we have to go and, how nervous do we get when we get pulled over by a cop after we did something illegal in the street? And that nervousness, how come we don't have that nervousness for Hashem? How come we don't have the fear of sin for Hashem like that? Imagine you're standing in a line in the bus in Israel and someone yells, Bam, Bam, Chaz v'shalom. How nervous would you be? You start getting a cold sweat. So how come when it was Rosh Hashanah, we didn't feel like that? How come when during the year we don't feel like that? We have to feel. Now, obviously, we don't want to be depressed from this, but we just to show you the seriousness, how much of a seriousness we have to have when it comes to fearing Hashem. During the 10 years before the Holocaust, Chavetz Chaim, he saw what was going to happen. So his students told him that he said that 10 million would pass away, Chas v'shalom, in the World War, and he says that's nothing compared to the calamity that's coming. Meaning in World War I, 1 million people died, and you're going to see what's going to happen in World War II. So when he came to the words Rachem in Birkat HaMazon, so he would cry over this tragedy that he felt was coming. So obviously he had Ruach HaKodesh, but why did he tell this to people? Why he had a lot of Ruach HaKodesh about a lot of things? Why did he specifically say publicly about this? So he says he knows that what happens when we leave and we lose our fear for heaven, we start acting like a goyim, and we start not acting like our forefathers acted. The Torah gives a special curse, and it's worse when it's in secret. Meaning to say, when we pretend like we're one way and deep inside we're another, in secret we're betraying Hashem, then the Chafetz Chaim says, now that means that something big is coming. Chas v'shalom. That's a special curse in the Torah. Chas v'shalom. So a person has to be very careful. Like what we say about the etrog. Etrog has to be not grafted, right? Has to be pure etrog, not mixed with lemon, and that represents our heart. Our heart also has to be purely for Hashem. Don't pretend like you're religious. You look a certain way. You say you send your kids to a certain yeshiva. You go and you're in the shul. You bid and you do and you act and then deep behind closed doors, your business is like a not religious person. And the way you have shalom bayit is like a not religious person. And the way you spend your money is like a not religious person. The way you talk is like a non religious person. What you watch is like a non religious person. All these things, Hashem says, Chas v'shalom, a very big judgment on a person like that. Hashem says, you think you could fake me out? Okay, fine. If you're through in, throughout, you're not holding in that level, you need to get there, fine. But you're holding on that level. Look how you present yourself outside. And then deep down inside of the house, you're still over here. What's wrong with you? What do you think? I don't smell this. I don't see this. You think I'm foolish? So it's a very big affront to Hashem. So therefore a person has to think twice about making sure that he's pure, that he's wholehearted. You know what the biggest chilul Hashem is? Biggest chilul Hashem is when you see a religious guy go and do things that non-religious people do. What are you doing? What are you doing? That turns so many people off. It's the biggest sin in the Torah. The biggest sin in the Torah is being a two-faced, being a faker, being a person who presents himself one way and deep down behind closed doors, he makes decisions that affects people's lives for his own benefit, and he goes and he decides to do things and sins that and does things behind closed doors that people who know him and own his image would never understand how he would do such a thing. It's a textbook Chilul Hashem. So what do we have to do? What connection do we have with Chilul Hashem? What does it do with us? That's the worst thing in the world. It's the worst thing in the Torah, to be two-faced, to be pretending to be religious and then deep down you're not. So a person has to be very careful not to fall into this trap of thinking that, my image in the street was matters, but the behind closed doors, it's okay. That's my prerogative. That's my problem. No, Hashem is very, very meticulous about that. Sir Salanta said, just like any other attribute, there's some people who are very angry type, some people very arrogant type. There's some people who are different levels in Yirat Shamayim, fear of heaven. And a person has to work on his midah of fear of heaven. You have to push it up. You know, there's a famous story of the Baba Sali Alav Shalom, where his daughter was there's some doll or something that she wanted to buy, and they was upset, and she said, no, you're not gonna buy it. And he said, no, but so and so has it. He looked at her and he stared at her with a burning stare in his face. He said, Kina, jealousy. What is that? And that's it. In that moment, it was done. She never again had an issue with that in her life because she saw how her father's traits and character traits and attributes and anava and kina. What have to do with kina? That's nothing to do with me. That's treif. It's not kasher. It's like pork. Why would I ever want to do and be involved with such a thing? And he transferred that over to her with that stare. Obviously, he did it from love. But the point is that the person has to be like that when it comes to fake, lying, pretending. What does it do with me? That's treif. That's 100% not kasher. There's nothing to do with me. I have to throw it away. I don't want to even 100 miles near that thing. Be 100% to the truth. And a person has to work on that. It's not acquired overnight. Part of being religious is working on that and acquiring the trait of being true with ourselves and true with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Imagine a person goes and he boards a plane, right? And he knows that every fourth screw, they skip the screw. They only put 3 screws in. You know, there's a famous story that they caught the guy, the spy in the IDF, and they found, how did they find the spy in the IDF? He said they found the guy. He put every screw in the fighter jet on the panel for where the controls are, and they said this guy's a spy. He says why? He says a Jew always he's chacham, he skips steps. He knows that 9 screws out of 10 is good enough. It will stay. If this guy put every screw, that means he has a screw loose. so they know they caught him. But the point is, if we wouldn't go and want to accept a doctor who skips steps and fakes, we wouldn't accept a builder who built our house if he skips steps and he's fake. How much more so we should realize that Hashem wouldn't accept our avodah, our service of Him, if it's fake and it's missing steps. So we should realize that to have fear of heaven is not so simple. You have to pray for it, you have to want it, you have to work on it, you have to dedicate time to it, and we all zocheh to be really real with ourselves and real with Hashem. Baruch Adonai.